China reserves the right to intervene if situation on the ground does not improve. California independence. Free California.
China wants to offer a helping hand to the people that has been affected with what is going on in LA. Like, they were like, if you guys are not going to control whatever that is going on in LA, we are coming for you guys. China. I never knew that something like this was gonna be a thing in this present time and age. So China is now trying to offer aid to the US. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into it.
China is closely following the events unfolding in Los Angeles. We urge the government of the United States to ensure the legitimate rights of Californians. China reserves the right to intervene if situation on the ground does not improve. California independence. Free California.
Okay, so now China is saying they will liberate California if Donald Trump continues this bullshit and doesn't protect the citizens of California. China is saying it will step in and protect California. Fucking plot twist!
What a wild time to be alive today. I don't know this man. I've never seen his videos before. I don't really know what he represents. I'm just going based on what he's saying in this video and the comments I'm reading.
Unfolding in Los Angeles.
What a wild time to be alive today. I don't know this man. I've never seen his videos before. I don't really know what he represents. I'm just going based on what he's saying in this video and the comments I'm reading. This isn't liberation. It's a threat. We do not need China to liberate us. We need our politicians to do their effing job. Let me remind people, because you seem to have forgotten. Russia is guilty of influencing our election to benefit who? Taco. Because Taco and Russia are best buds. And Russia and China go hand in hand. Hello? The whole point has been political unrest. So we are susceptible for things like this. Please, you guys, open your fucking eyes and your ears.
Can someone tell me which charity I can donate money to in order to help with immigrants who are being deported at the moment? This has nothing to do with politics. I'm not even American. It's just I have a lot of viewers. They have immigrant families. They have immigrant friends. I have a soft spot for them, and I want to help out.
I believe that Gavin Newsom will use this moment to trigger California's secession from the United States. I believe this because as somebody who has lived in California for a very, very long time, I am deeply familiar with Governor Gavin Newsom. Beneath those large, shiny white veneers is a face full of fangs. For a long time, Governor Newsom has had a very profitable and very equitable trade relationship with China. And when the threat of tariffs were looming, he gave many assurances that he would do everything in his power to ensure that that trade relationship with China remained intact. And the Chinese government and Chinese business owners have invested very heavily within the entire state of California. Now, this long-standing and very powerful trade agreement isn't something that's echoed throughout the rest of the United States. This is a long-standing relationship between very specifically China and the state of California. Should tensions rise, I believe that the Chinese government would likely be willing to strike a deal with the state of California in order to help California preserve its sovereignty. I mean, I could just be theorizing, but since the state of California and the country of China are such strong allies, and considering the amount of money that is exchanged between the two, I don't think it would be too unusual if tensions were to arise to a boiling point for our big brothers overseas to step in, or at least offer some kind of assistance. To be quite honest, Gavin Newsom has been vying for a presidential seat, or at the very least, a seat of power that is a bit bigger than what he has, for a very, very long time. This could be the trigger point for him getting everything he's wanted. I mean, on China's part, it would be very strategic to strike a deal with Governor Gavin Newsom in order to protect and assist the people of Southern California, again, should tensions rise and get to a breaking point. Now, I'm just an amateur folklorist who likes to yap on the internet about intersectionality across cultures and histories. But I also think I'm relatively good at pattern recognition. And I don't know, I feel like I'm seeing the build-up of this story and the reveal of this pattern between Governor Gavin Newsom and the great country of China. China and America have tense relationships and are not always friends, but China and California, well, it's a little bit of a different story when you think about it.
I live in Los Angeles, and in this video, I'm going to translate the Know Your Rights cards into Cantonese and Mandarin while ICE is raiding our city. These Know Your Rights cards are actually translated into 39 different languages, and I will put a link to them in my bio. First, I will do some explanation in Cantonese, then I will read the rights in Cantonese, and then I will read them in Mandarin. 如果你俾美國移民局嘅人員停咗，保持冷靜，唔好走。唔好俾佢哋任何假嘅文件。如果你係美國公民或者合法嘅移民，記得攜帶你嘅護照或者綠卡。如果你係冇身份嘅，記住你亦都有權利嘅。你可以記住呢4句。第一，我選擇行使我嘅憲法權利。第二，根據美國憲法第5條正案嘅權利，我唔想同你溝通。亦都唔會答你嘅問題或者簽任何嘅文件。第三，如果移民局嘅人員敲你個門，你唔使開門，你可以同佢講，根據美國憲法第4條正案嘅權利，我唔批准你入我屋企，除非你有法官或者裁判官簽咗嘅搜查令，搜查令上面必須寫我個名，你可以將搜查令攝入我門下。第四，根據美國憲法第4條正案嘅權利，我唔批准你搜查我所有嘅物品。Now I'm going to say this in Mandarin. 第一，我選擇行使我的憲法權利。第二，根據美國憲法第5修正案的權利，我不想和你說話，不想回答你的問題，我只簽署任何的文件。第三，根據美國憲法第4修正案的權利，我不允許你進入我的家，除非你有法官或裁判官簽署的搜查令，搜查令上寫着我的名字，你將搜查令在我門底塞進來，根據美國憲法第4條修正案的權利，我不允許你收查我的東西。Once again, I will link the translated Know Your Rights cards in my bio. Send this to a loved one that may need to hear this in Cantonese or Mandarin. No ICE in LA.
The ICE riots continue to cause chaos throughout the city of LA, and more protests are popping up, but I found some very interesting things, so buckle up. Now, my whole suspicions that this whole thing was funded and set up from the beginning was right, because this has been floating around. This is a Craigslist post that says they're looking for the toughest badasses in Los Angeles, in which it says seeking extremely tough and brave men for a new crew I'm building. It also goes on to say you need to be physically fit, fast, ready for confrontation, and pays $6,500 to over $12,000 per week. This is posted right before everything popped off, and it even says former law enforcement is okay to join, but no Marines. Now, why would they do that? That's because 700 Marines have just been deployed to LA, almost like they knew, right? But that's not all. A brand new investigation just cracked open with this Chinese communist-linked billionaire Neville Singham, who actually funds the Party of Socialism and Liberation that forced the hand of the Pentagon to release the Marines. Isn't it funny that his logo shows up at this anti-ICE protest that just passed on June 7th in San Antonio? Interesting. Not to mention, he lives in Shanghai, China, and I'm assuming he's made all his money George Soros style, but this is where it gets spooky. Can anybody tell me why not 1, not 2, but 3 Chinese nationals was just arrested smuggling in bioweapons into the US? Now, this is linked to a lab from the University of Michigan, and it said that this fungus can destroy crops and cause food poisoning. Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me that China owns almost 400,000 acres in the US around military bases and farmland, and now we have this? I think it's time we look up the ladder to see who's really pulling the strings here. Now here's another thing I found odd. There's this website called nokings.org, which is anti-ICE, anti-Trump, but they just established themselves. But why is this site registered back in 2018? And I did some more digging. It was actually established in Arizona, but it had no prior links to this being a blog/video game site. So there's that. Then we have Gruesome Newsom filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration to end illegal takeover for the National Guard, which has escalated chaos and violence into LA. Everybody say it with me now. Set up for a civil war. This is what they want. I'm not buying it. You shouldn't either. They want a race war. They want a civil war. Any kind of war to divide and conquer because they know that there's more of us than there are of them. Make sure you guys hit me up for my guide. I have a book on a societal collapse and how to prepare for it. I think everybody needs this by now. But as always, let me know what you think below.
2,000 National Guardsmen deployed, but they cannot operationalize the needs for more than 300 of them, meaning 1,700 of them have not been utilized in any meaningful way. Just moments ago, they also called up an additional 2,000 National Guards. So now 4,000, of which only 300 have been operationalized. And Guess what? Yesterday, LAPD had to protect and use their scarce resources to protect those National Guardsmen and women against protests that were incited because of their presence. And I say this as someone who's very proud of our National Guard and care deeply about them. They are being put into harm's way. And Donald Trump has created and manufactured a crisis that I assure you, to your tweet in the reference to excess, is going to be made significantly worse if they impose the Insurrection Act and deploy 700 active Marines in military into a U.S. American city in this manufactured crisis.
We saw that there were National Guardsmen sleeping on the floor. There was no food, water, or places to sleep for them. Here's what you posted. You sent your troops here without fuel, food, water, or a place to sleep. Here they are being forced to sleep on the floor, piled on top of one another. If anyone is treating our troops disrespectfully, it is you. And is this the group that's just even the 300 that they did operationalize? So they couldn't operationalize the 17. What are we looking at there even?
You're looking at chaos. You're looking at incompetency. You're looking, I think, at the visuals of what this is all about. They are unhinged. They're incapable of operational efficiency. I mean, these are the soldiers. This is the 79th Infantry. I know these guys well. They're under our command. They've been under my command. They're amazing young men and women. These were the folks out there protecting people in the middle of the wildfires here in LA. They were protecting public safety at key checkpoints all throughout the state. These are the folks I've deployed that are now being pulled off the line to do forest management and vegetation management, preparing for wildfire season. These are the folks that are currently being deployed, now are being sent here for this theater of the absurdity, that we're working on fentanyl interdiction and doing task force work, our rattlesnake crews, all of these extraordinary things that no longer can be done, or at least are disrupted because of this show. And that's all this is. We have more than enough resources. The mutual aid system has not even been close to being tapped as it relates to local law enforcement. And I'll remind you, LA County has 88 cities. The vast majority of those cities have their own police departments. The California Highway Patrol, we've surged about 600 officers. And as I just noted, and as you just showed your viewers, you've got 1,700 of these young men and women that are sitting around waiting for something, and another 2,000 have been nationalized, again, just so Donald Trump can pound his chest and act like he is in control. He is creating chaos.
It feels wildly irresponsible to be living in Southern California and continue posting business as usual while everything is going on in LA. So, see you in Anaheim, June 14th.
I told you guys several times this week to expect Trump to lash out because of the narcissistic wounds. We had Taco, we had Elon making fun of him and attacking him, and then the whole Epstein file thing. And so his Gravy Seals in LA failing epically and being embarrassed is another wound, right? And what happens with dictators that don't know or want to be dictators or that don't know what the F they're doing? They're overly reactionary. And the fact that they picked LA to pick this fight shows you they don't know what the hell they are doing. He's very limited to what he can even do with the National Guard in there. And he's acting like, oh, I've military. He doesn't know what he's even talking about. And people are scared about him declaring martial law. The president can't declare martial law. Okay, that's Congress, that's a bunch of other things, but he can't just say, I'm doing that. No, he's not doing that. And if they try and put the Marines in there, that's illegal. So he's lost 96% of his cases. Please remember that. He will continue to lose more. So far, the people of LA are standing up. I expect them to do that. I'm from that area. LA, in my view, stands for ACAB. So of all the places in this country, they picked the Lion's Den. This is completely unifying to LA. LA is very big. There's millions of people there. And to me, this is not about an insurgency, because even if that's what they thought they were going to do, and if they were dumb enough, which, they could be, they can't win. They could send tons of the military in there, tons with weapons. They will not win an insurgency in LA. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. We don't win insurgencies anyway. But even in our own area, with that many people, with that many weaponized people, and that many spaces, it's just logistically never going to happen. So Trump has really set his people up to fail because he's trying to save face, because his guys suck. Did Biden have to do this? Did Obama? Did Clinton? Did Bush? Yada, yada, yada. No one else did this, because when they were deporting people, they were trying to deport the bad guys. And when you're trying to deport the bad guys out of those kind of communities, you have relationships with the people in those communities. So even if they don't have papers, you have a relationship with them. Because when you're an enforcement agency, you need good relationships. I don't care how much tech you have, you need in-person relationships. Period. These guys have done none of that. They've just tried to bully their way in. They put on their military fatigues to try and show power and force, but they don't have any of the skills to actually pull that off. So this to me just shows how clueless they are and how foolish they are, and how when their emotions run high, they overreact. And if they keep overplaying their hand, they're not going to have any hands left to use. We just have to show up in numbers. That's all we have to do. When they push, we push back. They push, we push back bigger. That's it. That's the name of the game. Because he doesn't know what the F he's doing.
Knew that this type of history will ever occur. It's not as if I'm laughing. I'm not really laughing like I'm laughing because I'm happy. I'm laughing because this is just so unbelievable. This is just so unbelievable. I'm just going through my For You page, and I came across so many people reacting to the fact that China is trying to offer aid to the states because of what is happening in LA. The same China that went as far as to offer aid to whatsoever thing that was happening in Pal. What does that tell you? Does that supposed to mean that China is now like, is it not China? Oh my goodness. How is China that's supposed to be a third world country try to offer helping hands to whatsoever that is happening in LA? Like, it's so serious that China decided to offer aid to them. It's so disappointing that the same China that was supposed to be like a backyard third world country is doing this. But when I saw this, on my For You, and so many people reacting to the fact that, oh no, we don't need China's help. What we need is political help. And I was like, was it not the same thing that the state actually want to do to that of Burkina Faso? So the state want to offer hands to Burkina Faso, but China was supposed to mind their business with whatsoever that is happening in LA. You see how that works? You see how it looks like? The thing is that China is actually offering help, like genuinely. But that of the states and Burkina Faso is the fact that they want to do that in order to steal their resources. It's actually two-way thing. It's two-way thing this time around. It's not even comparison. You can't even compare it. China want to help, because they already see what is happening. Like all over the world is talking about what is happening and the way at which these people have been treated. The world know exactly what is happening. So instead of these people to focus on what is happening, they want to focus their energy in Burkina Faso and how they want to go after Ibrahim Traore, because he's using the resources to protect himself from who exactly? And now China. I never expected that China was going to be so. Are you sure this is not a satire? Or this is not a joke? I hope this is a joke, right? Because if this is being serious, that means there is trouble in paradise. Paradise, like the dream, the American dream is actually, and this is just all because of MAGA supporters. This is because of MAGA supporters, anti-racism, fascism, like you can name it but a few. You decided to use your full chest to get yourself deported because you felt that you are whitewashed or you are, oh my goodness. That's seriously lovely. When I saw this on my For You, I try as much as to make more research, because it's so unbelievable that in this time China will be offering help to the best country in the world, the best of the best in the world. It's so unbelievable and it's laughable, because the state was supposed to be giving it was supposed to be giving a helping hand to other developing, but now at its stand, the state actually needs help. It needs help, and China is so wow. Anyway, lovelies, when I saw this, I thought that's okay. Why not my audience see this as well? Because things are beginning to get serious. I thought this was just something that would just come and go, but it's as if it's getting more serious and people want to intervene. Other countries want to intervene. Other countries want to help. For other countries to offer a helping hand, it is a very serious issue right now. Anyway, lovelies, wanna just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, please. Don't forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe, shout out to all the other stitches, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.